Welcome back. Today we're going to finish installing the intake manifold and put the distributor back in. There's the corks. We throw these in the spare drawer for the next time we're working on a 302 or 289 base something or another. Well, that pair of 1250s was nice, but these ports are bigger than that, so I'm going to go with this set of 1262s. These little tabs that are hanging through, and I think you can see them. Maybe I'll zoom in a little bit tighter. Let me get me something to point with. Alright. These little tabs that you see hanging through here, and right here, and then there's one up in that corner and one up in that corner. If you look at the bottom of this gasket, there's a notch. And those little notches, this one here, slides over those tabs. This notch here is where the cork latches into the gasket at the head. And you want to put a good dollop of RTV. Now you can make this whole piece out of RTV like this engine was. But what I like to do is use the gasket cork at the end and put the RTV over it. Now, when you put this thing in, you just let it line up with the tab, and the tab will move around a little bit. Now this is not permanently going on. I got to put some sealer around the water openings and such, but that holds that in. And then when you put the rear in right here, this just kind of goes up in that tab and will get squished in by the manifold when it comes down and close up the hole. If you got a good dollop of RTV on it, that's a plus. Now I'm going to go ahead and lay these down here. And another reason I like to get these super clean, this thing keeps wanting to commit gasket aside. If you peel the sticky back off, there's an adhesive on here, and it will hold it in place. You just got to be real careful when you put it down to make sure you got the ends lined up. And you know, some people say put the gaskets down first, some people say put the ends on first. I've never seen where it makes that much of a difference as long as you're careful and get everything with a good coating of sticky on it. Now, we'll take this off and set it right up here, which it may or may not decide that it wants to stay. We'll just let it set on that valve cover gasket. And that valve cover gasket's got enough oil on it that I now have to dry off of this gasket that it doesn't want to sit there. There's a little bit of oil on the back of your gasket will keep the RTV from sealing. So I'll just go ahead and lay this here. Alright, now some people put a dollop of RTV in the middle on both sides. I tend to just do right around the water ports, both ends, both sides. I run a bead across and up, a bead across and up, water jacket, water jacket. Get everything in place, set the manifold on. This Velcro blue ring is actually pretty good at not leaking on the manifold side. When I first started seeing those show up years ago, I was a little skeptical, but they have proven themselves time and time again to be okay. Now, I got to figure out where I did set the manifold. Oh, right there. My coat's hanging in front of it. Okay, so here's what we do. I cut the end off so we can keep using the tube we already had open. I usually put a big healthy dose of RTV right around the water jacket. Come down and in one motion put me a dollop across there. Now I'm going to do the same thing up here. Get that corner. Come on over here. Same thing, put you a nice ring around, dollop in the corner. Go up front, Again, same thing. Bring it down. Dollop in the corner. Now you want to do the same thing on the other side. Hook that head gasket, bring it up. And then you can slide it so that it matches your ports. Now that one's sitting up a little bit. Alright, now we got to do the same thing at the front. And I might as well leave my knife there because I'm probably going to need it again in a second. And again, we stick it down and glue it. Now, back here, where I had to make that adjustment, we go ahead and we give us a nice little squirt of RTV. It looks like I'm going to have to open up another tube. Okay, there goes that one. Alright, give it a little squirt. And we're going to come on across like so. And like so. Alright, now we're ready to put the intake on. Now, the biggest thing here is to try to do this in one swift action. I already cleaned the manifold. Go ahead and line it up, push it down, and reach over here and get you a box of bolts. Now that setting it down and sliding it back, that serves two purposes. One, that pushes your RTV in and also smears it back and forth a little bit. Alright, I'm going to start right here in the middle. I'm going to do this side first. And I'm going to push this one over. And then I'm going to crisscross. And do this one. And then I'm going to come back and do this one. And I'm going to go back over and do this one. And we're going to keep doing this crisscross pattern until we go all the way across this intake. And you're going to see a little splooging out up here. And that's what you want to see. Now you're going to see a light splooge out. And then we'll get the front one. We'll get this one. And then we'll get this one. And then you can see it's getting a nice little curl out the back. And what I tend to do is, now that I've done that, is I'll come back and I'll crisscross my way back in to the center. And you can see the bolts are loosening up at least a turn each time. And what I usually do after this is I go ahead and let it set for 24 hours, and then I'll retorque them. The ends are RTV'd to the gaskets, which are stickied to the block. The ends around the water jackets are RTV'd to the water jacket openings. And the center bolts are just pressing the gasket backing against the head, and then the blue rings around each port is sealing that. And the next thing I got to do is worry about how I'm going to adapt my water temperatures sending unit into this block, which is still screwed into that one. I'm going to overhaul that one. That'll be another video. I'm going to make some changes to that motor that I didn't get to do to it to start with, because we were running out of time and the point seasons was starting. But this right here is a good example of a picked up on the side. We'll see when it starts up, but so far this is a good example of a picked up on the side bracket racing motor. I'm going to chip it for 6,200 and shift it at about 52. And it's going to slow my car down a little bit probably, but we won't know for sure till we put it in. Alright, now it's time to put the distributor back in. Let's see. So let me get in front of the lens here. So I've got my mark. And I've got my mark. I've also got my notch that the machinist cut in. And let me go ahead and pull a plug out down here. And I should have pulled the bolt here out and the retainer before I move that plug, because that's usually a good way to drop them in the engine. But anyway, now the trick is, here's where we want to be when we're back in the engine, and that's just kind of eyeballing the notch up, and we're lined up with the line here. I need to give this thing a little more this way angle. Alright, the trick is to back this thing up a few degrees, because as it goes in, you got to engage the oil pump drive, but you've also got to engage, oh look at that, there we go. Now see, as I pick it up, see it spin backwards? That's the gears meshing on the cam drive gear. Alright, now if I look down here and find my notch again, there's my notch. There's my notch right there, and there's my white mark. So I'm off one tooth. So technically I could just leave it alone, but I'm going to go ahead and try to back it up one tooth. And there we go. I'm on my mark. After you do it once or twice, it's really simple. Works out pretty good, and I'm just going to snug that down because I got finger tight, because I got to move it anyway. But that's all there is to it. It's just a matter, you know, a lot of people, if you just see it done one time, you know, it's real easy for you after that, and you can go ahead and do it to it. And then when you're turning your adjustment, really, see, you're not moving the distributor itself or the drive shaft itself in the rotor. You're moving the housing. That's why that peen mark that the machinist made is kind of important for 0. But I mean, it can be a pencil line. It can be whatever route you took to mark it, as long as you got an indicator down there. Anyway, that'll do it for right now. Thanks for watching. Please comment, like, or subscribe below, and stay tuned for future episodes. Thanks again.